Hey guys, how's it going? It's Clarice here. Yeah, I hope you're all having an amazing 2015. I hope it is the best 2015 to have ever 2015'd. But yeah, I wanted to apologize for being so quiet on the channel recently. Basically, I have been working on a project that is YouTube related. So I was having a little bit of a break. And yeah, hopefully I'll be able to share the results of that project really soon with you guys. And I know I sound right now like I'm being really secretive and really like arrogant. Like, you know, in American Dad, where that alien's always like, I got some big stuff coming up. Some big stuff. That darn movie show. So yeah, sorry about that. But I thought for the meantime, I am about to head off to my first international film festival and I am so excited. I'm going to Gothenburg, Sweden, and I have always wanted to go to Sweden. I am just like weirdly obsessed with all things Nordic for some reason. So yeah, I thought I would bring you guys along and I don't know, maybe you could share in my little mini adventure. So let's go! Sort of walking along the sort of boardwalk area with loads of old naval ships, and I mean, look at this view, look at this view, what is this view? It's so pretty. So the first day I got into Gothenburg, I went in the evening. I did go see Listen Up Philip, and yeah, I really liked it. It felt a little bit detached from the characters because there was such a focus on this very like literary narrative and on this like smooth jazz soundtrack. But I think overall I really enjoyed the message, which was basically like, don't live your life in the comparative. Don't live your life just constantly comparing yourself to others in terms of what is success and what is failure, because that is what eventually leaves you feeling very alone in the world. So yeah, and then yesterday I started off the day with 3 movies in a row, basically. So the first one I saw was Paris of the North, which I saw a Facebook friend have been talking about, so I sort of took their recommendation without their consent. And yeah, it was also, I really enjoyed this movie. It is sort of familiar territory in terms of the plot. It's a very kind of Sundancey plot, actually. It's about sort of strained father-son relationships and small town angst, but it's set against these like beautiful Icelandic mountains, and it has so much heart and it has such a great soundtrack as well, so I ended up sort of really falling for it. After that I saw a Finnish movie called They Have Escaped, which was kind of like a contemporary fairy tale. I wasn't really a fan of this one so much, just because it felt like one of these movies that was so like desperate to sort of impress you. It was just kind of like a series of striking images, but with no real sort of emotion behind the story, I felt. The third movie of the batch I saw was called When I Will Be Dictator, and it was a Belgian movie, and it had a really interesting concept, which was basically to take sort of existing Super 8 and 8mm footage, basically people's like old home movies, and like construct a narrative out of it. So I think because of the kind of nature of the beast, some parts did sort of drag, just because there are like long stretches of the movie were obviously just like clips of people who are like filming out of their cars, like they're driving past, so just like fields, loads of fields, and fields I do not find that interesting. But then there are other sections that I really enjoyed that sort of focused on footage of people throughout the decades, so like dancing and weddings and people with their kids, and I thought that was really nice to sort of reflect on, you know, throughout all these years, like 100 years, and we haven't really changed that much as people. And then in the evening, I went to see The Voices, starring Ryan Reynolds. You might have seen the trailer. I think that came out recently. And oh my god, like, I fell head over heels in love with this movie. It is just my perfect kind of movie. I just love movies that are that sort of perfect mix in between really dark comedy. It's sort of quite gruesome in places, but then also mixed with some real like sweetness. And yeah, just I want to see it again immediately, like 1,000 times. The last movie I saw yesterday was Chocolietta, which was a Japanese movie, and it had a really nice story. It reminded me a lot of Bertolucci's The Dreamers, which is a movie like I hold very dear to my heart. And so it's sort of about like how it's about sort of two young people who come together through sort of the movies and getting lost in that sort of world, but also it had that negative side that I think The Dreamers covers, where it's the idea that if you sort of lose yourself too fully in movies, and I think also in Chocolietta, it sort of expanded that idea to sort of just sort of daydreaming and fantasy in general. If you lose yourself too far into that, you never really accept your reality and you become lost in a way. So it's my last like full day in Gothenburg today, so getting a little bit of that like end of holiday blues. But I thought I'd just recap the movies I saw yesterday because yeah, I think I made some really good choices yesterday. Pretty proud of myself because I really liked everything I saw. So yeah, the first movie I watched was called Beatles, and it was this really sweet, really funny comedy about these like 4 Norwegian boys who are really obsessed with the Beatles, and like each one of them like identifies with a different member of the band. And yeah, I found it kind of funny that like the lead character of the film was meant to be the Paul McCartney of the group, because I don't know, I always thought in the UK people like hated Paul McCartney for some reason, but maybe in Norway it's like a different story. And yeah, after that I went to see A Second Chance, which is directed by Susanne Bier, who is also behind Serena, which is that Jennifer Lawrence Bradley Cooper movie that everyone's been slating. I haven't seen it yet, so I thought I'd go see this to kind of, I don't know, I guess compare it when I do eventually see Serena. But I really liked this movie. I thought it's basically a movie about grief and the loss of a child, and I thought it was really well directed and really well edited. Like each scene was so efficient in the way it just focused straight in on like the core emotions of the scene. There was no sort of like faffing around, if that makes sense. And yeah, there's some really good performances in that one as well. And then after that, I saw women in oversized men's shirts, which, yeah, I really loved this movie in particular. It made me very emotional. It's like a weirdly hopeful movie. It's about these sort of women sort of at different stages in their life, sort of crossing paths. And it made me hopeful in the sense, I think, probably for everyone, but I think particularly for us ladies, it sort of gave me hope that everything's going to be okay in the end. So, and then yeah, the last movie I saw yesterday was Zhao, I think that's how it's pronounced. It's the Western with Viggo Mortensen, and yeah, it is such a beautiful movie. It is stunning. It's like just a million little paintings. Like it almost feels more like you're visiting a museum sometimes and seeing an actual film, because it is so sort of painterly. Yeah, and I think I loved it in particular because it did remind me of a particular artist, and like, I don't know, I can't actually put my finger on who it is. I think like having a little like think about it afterwards that I might be thinking of Ingres, who is this neoclassical slash orientalist French painter from the 19th century, and he painted one of my favourite paintings of like all time, which is La Grande Odalisque, which is hanging in the Louvre. It's, yeah, so beautiful, and I think it sort of reminds me of him just because the colours in Zhao Zhou are just so vivid, like some of the most vivid colours I've seen on film for a long time, and yeah, and also like the composition of each shot is just beautiful, like stunning, just a beautiful, beautiful movie. Now, boo. But I did see some really good movies on my last full day in Gothenburg. So the first one I saw was Clouds of Sils Maria, and I just thought the performances from Juliette Binoche and Kristen Stewart in this movie were amazing. So they're playing, Juliette Binoche was this actress, and Kristen Stewart was her sort of PA assistant. And just the scenes of dialogue between them as they were working on this sort of new play, and the two of them had very different perspectives on it, and that sort of contradiction between them and that clash and them sort of presenting each point of view was so interesting and just so well acted, and made me really miss acting, because I just think it reminded me of how sort of fulfilling it is to be able to explore that and unpack the psychology and explore yourself in that manner. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. Then I saw Far From Men. So basically most of the movies at Gothenburg had English subtitles, and I was really good at checking until this last day, and I just had a bit of like time. I couldn't really figure out what to go see, so I was like, I'll go see Far From Men. It's got Viggo Mortensen in it. Aragorn, yay. So I'll go check it out. Just forgot to check whether there are English subtitles, and yeah, there were no. This is like the one movie that didn't have English subtitles. So yeah, and then I thought I'd be okay because it was in French, and I was like, oh, my French is pretty good, but then also turned out it was half in Arabic, which I do not know at all. So yeah, I only got about half of that movie and half of what was going on, but it seemed pretty good. I did find it quite funny that like the two movies at Gothenburg that had Viggo Mortensen in them were both about him just like wandering around the desert. I don't know if that's like the new phase of his career now. Then I went to see Cake with Jennifer Aniston. So I know there's been like quite a lot of talk about this movie being Oscar baity, and yeah, I definitely got that. It just is one of those movies where like every event was set up to be like, oh, isn't her character suffering? Life is difficult. Like they had this like completely unnecessary sex scene where like the gardener just comes in, like no setup as to why, like he's just like, yeah, I'm here to bang, and then like sex is really difficult for her, and then he leaves and we never see him again. So yeah, definitely a few scenes that felt like they were kind of over-labouring the point a little bit. But yeah, I really liked Jennifer Aniston's performance in this, and I really liked her character. I think it's sort of rare to see female actresses getting these sort of roles where they can really be that misanthropic and that sort of hate-filled and angry. I think that's sort of rare, especially in these kind of Oscar bait movies where women have to be these like suffering marks. So yeah, this video was very much an experiment. Like I have never been to an international film festival before, let alone trying to vlog an international film festival. So basically I have no idea what I'm doing, but if you have made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I know I mentioned a lot of movies sort of briefly, so if there's anything that you would like me to do a full review on, just let me know by commenting down below, or you can tweet at me here. So yeah, all that's left to say is, yeah, again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll be back soon with some more movie reviews, stuff at the cinema, stuff on Netflix, I don't know, let me know, and yeah, see you guys soon, bye!